Welcome to the One Mic, One Voice show, Building the Collective Conscious, a show created to give space where your voice, ideas, and informed opinions can be heard, appreciated, and debated. I am your host, Michael Eric Owens. Folks, I'm here in the One Mic studio. I just want to run something by you right quick because I'm seeing that people are really questioning whether or not Kamala Harris, VP Harris, can win the presidency. And the Republicans have resorted back to, of course, I shouldn't say back to because they're always in the midst of fear mongering. And so we find ourselves in a season we're 99 days away from the election. That's really, really close. And so I want to challenge you today. Really in three simple questions. Three simple questions. And you might not have the answer to these questions, and you might be grappling with these questions. But my first question is, what is this election all about? I mean, we had, a relatively calm presidency under Biden if we could have just kept the I guess you want to say the conservative right wing out of politics, but that never happened because the leader of that movement is Donald Trump. And so what is this election all about? Are we going to go back or are we going to go forward? And what does forward even look like? And we do not want to even contemplate or even I want to say envision what going back would look like because history has been very clear on that. So what is the election all about? Why should I care and why should I vote? I mean, maybe you're sitting there and you're going, you know what? This is just crazy. It's overwhelming. I hate hearing about it. I just want to just get it over with. I don't want to participate at all. But this election is about fascism. It really is. And I'm going to make a point here. And I know his own running mate, J.D. Vance, okay, even called him America's Donald Trump, America's Hitler. Now he's on the ticket with him. Folks, words matter. And if you say something that you don't agree with, that you've grown out of, that you have, you've gotten a different perspective, you're enlightened. You're enlightened. That's cool. Everybody can accept that you've grown. But to double down or to gaslight, which Mr. Vance does, and to expect for people to buy somehow you didn't mean what you said. I mean, there is some, you can have a interpretation of something, right? I mean, we see this always with holy scriptures, whether it's Quran or the Bible, there's always an interpretation of something, right? But this ain't that, this is like, this is like a direct quote from this guy, but this is about fascism. And if you think about fascism, a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and race above the individual and stands for a centralized autocratic government. This man just said the other day, Donald Trump, Christians vote like you never voted before. What did he say down here? Christians, get out and vote. Just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years. It will be fixed. It will be fine, my beautiful Christians. My beautiful Christians. I thought Christians belonged to Christ. I thought Jesus was the center of their world. I thought the Holy Scriptures were what they govern their lives by, right? I don't. I thought your pledge allegiance is to Christ, not to a man. Matter of fact, I think the good book warns against this very sort of thing. My Christians, why vote? Because of fascism. Because this country is moving toward, folks, listen, let's be honest. I mean, we don't, sometimes I think people think it's so complicated to understand what is happening right around them, right in their own circle. But you have intuition. We all know what is happening with this country. And folks, while I'm talking, I want you to go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button so you can get this content as soon as I drop it. But it is quite clear this country is moving toward not just a system, but laws and judges that are moving toward suppressing all things not white. We can look at the books that are being banned. I mean, white authors are not being banned. Okay. So we we can look at what's happening in this country and understand there is a targeted audience. And it's always been that way. So I'm not going to sit here and labor that. But the idea that we're moving toward Trump wants to have a centralized government. And the question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to live in a democracy or do you want to have a fascist as your president? Now, I'm going to bring up three, I think, three well known, or let me do this rather than bore you. I'm just going to do two. The two probably most famous, we had Franco in France. I'm not going to talk about him, but the two most famous ones is Hitler and Benito Mussolini. And we know we're moving toward a centralized government when the guy that's running for office tells you this is the last time you got to vote, folks. Don't even worry about it. We gonna fix this. What is this? What is he fixing? What I don't understand. Define what you are fixing. He said we're going to fix this. You'll never have to vote again. Who ever heard of that in democracy? The essence of a democracy is debate, but it's also voting and compromise, right? And coming to an agreement. You never have to vote again. And then you have these apologists out here just sitting up here. Oh, he didn't mean. Trump is 78 years old. They used to be, if you told an older person that they didn't mean what they mean, they told you to stay in your place. But somehow we can tell this elder guy, oh, he didn't mean that. He meant this. So Hitler. And we know what with his Nazi party and the idea of Aryan racial superiority. What is happening in this country with white nationalism, with whiteness supposedly under attack? We can't even teach our kids about history, American history, not Black history, not Native history, American history, which is comprised of all of that. But we can't do that because some people might feel bad. They might get their feelings hurt. Why? Why? When we talk about slavery, my feelings don't get hurt. What I actually do is learn. I learned not only the horrors of it, but I learned very quickly that we can never go back there. We can never repeat that. So you had Hitler, then you had Mussolini. And Mussolini is interesting because he was explicitly racist. And he passed laws that banned blacks and Jewish people from marrying from marrying any white people. Christian Italians, they could marry black, white, Christian Italians or serve in any professional position. Mm. You know what? Our country's being ran by single cat ladies. Is that what he said? That's what J.D. Vance said. They shouldn't be in government. Single people. If you don't have children, you shouldn't be in government because you don't have a stake in this country. What are we hearing? These are from men. Men. I'm going to say it. Men. White men. Not black men. Not Latin men. Not Asian men. White men that are saying that, guess what? And Trump even doubled down on it. And again, I am the first person. Those who know me know how I feel about respect for all people. But there are some in our society that think that because they are male and white, they have certain privileges that others don't. And they're right. They do. Because if Barack Obama had been running for office and got up there and said that guess what, folks, Protestants, speaking to black people, guess what, folks, y'all ain't never got to vote again. We gonna fix this. I don't, and if he was a felon, let's put that on top of there. He was a convicted felon. He was civilly convicted of sexual assault. If he had slept with a porn star, if he had, had all these relationships outside of his marriage, I don't think we would be talking about President Obama as a president at all. So there's fear mongering. So it starts off, first of all, the Republicans, what they try to do is, if they're going to change laws anyway. I mean, they that's why the Supreme Court is. They have a long game. I'll give them that. They have a long game. But then when that doesn't happen, they have to hit you somewhere else. And then that's usually where the kind of false information. We know what happened with all of a sudden Hunter Biden was the president, because that's all we heard. We heard even when Hillary was Benghazi, there's always something that they're trying to misrepresent about a certain individual. So they tried it with Biden, then tried to bring up articles of impeachment. And you notice, where's that at? Where's that at? We don't hear anything about Hunter Biden. Why? Because President Biden pulled the rug right from under him. He said, guess what? I'm not going to run again. And now they have to shift. And so who else can they shift to but the person, the presumptive Democratic nominee for the presidency is Kamala Harris, VP. And so we see this fear mongering. They're truly afraid of her. They didn't know what to do. I don't think they really felt President Biden would resign. I just think they had a playbook. They came out of their crazy convention that was filled with so much testosterone and masculine energy. It was like they were about to go to war on everybody that is not Republican. Yet the message is to unite the country. So they're stoking this fear, right? And this playbook, they're talking about the fact that she's not qualified. That VP Harris is not qualified. Well, let me just share some things with you about her qualifications, because some of you will hear this out there and they're calling her the most sexist, racist names possible. I don't understand how women in general, with everything that happened with abortion in this country, the Supreme Court decision to push it back to the states. The red states and some of them that are considered purple states that are enacting so much restrictive laws. And I've often said that the argument is not about abortion. When we get into the details of what the government can do and not do, like the argument is, does the government or should the government have the right to tell a woman what to do with her body? Or tell a man? And the answer is obviously no. I mean, I don't even understand. Yes, should we have some regulations to protect women? Yes, I say protect, not control, protect in the event that they have to make this difficult decision. Absolutely. But to tell them what to do, I mean, I just don't the argument is not about abortion, it's about government reach into the lives of their citizens. But we can never frame it like that because it makes too much sense. Because nobody would say that the government should be able to. We don't want the government to tell us how many guns we should have. We want the government to tell us where we should live. We don't even want the government. How long did it take for them to fight against seatbelts? We didn't even want the government to tell us to wear masks. But the government can tell a woman what to do with her body. That's how ridiculous all of this is. So they are afraid of not only that argument, but they're afraid of the fact that she is completely qualified. Their worst nightmare is for her to get elected and to get in there and to get things done. Because it exposes, and we all know this. We know who's been running the country. How can you turn around and say that single cat ladies are running? Who has been running this country from the start? Who has put this country in this position? And you could answer that yourself. But I can tell you, it hasn't been women. Ouch. It hasn't been black men. Hasn't been Latin men. It hasn't been native peoples either. Indigenous people, no. Who has it been? So how can you turn around and blame everybody when you have been in charge since the beginning? So she was educated at Howard University. Okay, at HBCU. Let me see. She has been a deputy district attorney, assistant district attorney. In that position, she was a chief of the career criminal division, supervising 5 other attorneys where she prosecuted homicide, burglary, robbery, and sexual assault. I think, wasn't Kamala said, I know individuals like him, speaking of Trump. Okay. She also worked for the city of San Francisco for the Family and Children's Service Division, representing child abuse and neglect cases. But I don't. Is she qualified? Is she qualified? And she ran and she was elected district attorney of San Francisco from 2004 to 2011. And then she said, let me just go up another level. She ran and she was elected attorney general of California from 2011 to 2017. And then what happened? Right? She wound up in the Senate. And you're going to sit up there and say that she's not qualified to be president when the guy that's saying she was not qualified never held a public office in his life until he became president. Never was a poll worker, never worked on a campaign, even gave money to Kamala's campaign when she ran for Senate. So the Republicans are telling you that she is not qualified. Folks, you hear this all the time, and I hate to say this. And I'm going to be back to say a few more other things, but I hate to say this because you hear this all the time, how, this is the most important election of your life. We have to vote like we never voted before. But the truth, it's the truth, though. I hate to say it, but it is. This is like the most important, essential vote that you will cast up into this point in your life, up into the next election, right? We'll tell you the same thing. But it is true, though, because if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, Shady Vance, just saying what I hear him saying, I'm just repeating it. If these guys get in the office, they don't see women as equal. They don't see women as having value. These two guys. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the cabinet. I'm talking about we have the daughter. We have listen, let's not elect people that do not see other human beings that have value. We can talk about what they've said about the Latin community, the Black community, and so forth. But I'm gonna come back and talk about some of these Black individuals that have what can I say? Yeah, they have sold their integrity for 15 minutes of fame, for a cabinet position. And it is so sad because most of these people consider themselves to be we would say moral, upstanding, and many of them claim to be Christians. But it's funny, the very book in which they will easily throw in your face is the very book that they know nothing about. The very one in which they should be pledging their life to, and I don't mean Donald Trump, to Jesus. That's in the book. It's their book, right? It's a book they read. It's a book they claim. Well, Jesus said, when you did it to the least among you, you did it also unto me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. When I was in prison, you came to visit me. When I was sick, you came and visited me. Yeah, they are a long way away from that. This man is in churches cussing and this, okay. Listen, folks, that's why it is critical that you begin to talk in your circle, you begin to share, you begin to, have these discussions, because guess what? This is his last go. Trump is 78. This is his last go. What was their argument against President Biden? He's too old. He's too old. He's incompetent. Man, listen. If you cut through all the noise and all of the chatter and all of the lies and disinformation, President Biden took over a country that was on the brink of going over the cliff, and he brought it back. And for that, he should be remembered as not just a good president, but as a great man. So you can say what you want to say. I think it's elder abuse, man. I think you're going after. Listen. I'm not going to go too deep into why, because he's already resigned. I just think it is the Republican playbook. And folks, we need to wise up. We need to vote. We need to get out. We need to add our voices to this conversation. Now, there's some, and I'm going to close here. There's some that will sit out there and say, well, I'm looking at Kennedy, right? Or I'm looking at Wes. Okay, let me just say this, and I can't say it any clearer than this: a vote for Robert Kennedy or and Cornel West, okay, is a vote for Donald Trump. You can justify it any way you want. It is a vote that will help, because your vote, if you're not going to vote for Trump, your vote should go for the Democratic nominee. You might say, well, why? Well, you don't want to vote for the other guy, but you're going to vote for someone who can't win. Well, and you say, well, this is a protest vote. Well, who are you protesting against? Who's listening to that? We don't care. I don't care about your political principles. I don't care that you want to see Cornel West and you want to see his vision of what can happen in the Middle East. I don't care. You want to know why I don't care? Because it's not a reality. And folks, if we don't step into reality, I'm not saying I don't agree with some of those things. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm wise enough to know that this country has always been and always will be moving forward a two-party system. And that you're either you're either with a winner or you with a loser. There's nothing in between. This is the way this country was designed. So what I'm saying to you is this. For those of you who are thinking about, man, I don't want to vote Democrat. I don't want to vote. I'm just going to vote third party. You voted for the Republican. You voted. It's just as simple as that. Because anyone that wants to see this country stay a democracy, and we can argue. I'm not going to even, okay, we can debate about Republic and all this. We can do that. But what I'm saying to you is very important that you do not throw away your vote and make your vote count, because remember, you might not get to vote again, right? That's what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump says, we, I don't know who the we is or what they're going to fix, but he said it's got something to do with you will never have to vote again. Folks, history will speak of us. Somewhere in the distant future, a scribe will reach down deep into the archives of our time. And what will she find? Will she discover that we overcame our differences? Will she find that out of many we became one? Or will she find that we solved nothing and remain a divided peoples? Yes, history will speak of us.